Popular conceptualizations of love present marriage as the ultimate goal, with every other presentation of love being secondary. This conceptualization focuses on the psychological aspect of love, while ignoring the environmental aspect that explores the contribution of culture and socialization towards love. Anderson observes that the wheel theory of love by Ira Rice conceptualizes courtship, the development of relationships, and the selection of a mate as a continuum. Rice used the wheel theory as a presentation of how individuals form social relationships. The theory divides the process of love into 4 phases, that is, rapport, self-revelation, mutual dependency, and the fulfillment of intimacy needs. The rapport phase entails partners quickly evaluating each other, especially along the lines of how well they would be comfortable and understood. This first phase encompasses individuals finding ways to be at ease with each other, get to know one another, and be attracted to each other. Rapports are formed by individuals with both similar and different personal backgrounds. A positive evaluation results in the establishment of reliable communication channels with a potential partner, a phenomenon that is greatly aided by the presence of similarities among potential partners. Anderson observes that the aspects of these similarities include personal values, personal backgrounds, and socio-cultural factors. The knowledge of an individual's cultural and social background facilitates the prediction of the degree of rapport. Successful rapport formation initiates the wheel theory, regardless of the factors that guided rapport establishment. The self-revelation phase includes potential partners sharing intimate thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Intimate communication is based on the nature of channels established during the rapport phase. Anderson asserts that there is a relationship between socialization and the extent of disclosure. Notably, religious values, gender roles, individual personalities, and attachment styles determine the extent and content of self-disclosure. For instance, some people are brought up to be cautious with people until they prove to be trustworthy. Individuals tend to withhold religious and sexual attitudes, weaknesses, and background issues during the process of knowing a potential partner. Mutuality is central to self-disclosure, as one partner expects the other to share information that is as valuable as what they shared, even though it need not to be exactly alike, a phenomenon called the dyadic effect. Individuals who like, respect, and trust another present greater likelihood of disclosing more about themselves compared to those who do not. Information disclosure rewards the listener by improving their self-esteem as they perceive themselves as worthy of being trusted, which promotes the freedom of personal disclosure. The essence of mutuality and self-disclosure is building trust and commitment, both components being central to the success of relationships beyond the romantic ones. The more outgoing, free, and relaxed a partner is, the greater the likelihood of revealing more about themselves. Self-disclosure is guided by trust and respect, which determine the types of love that will eventually manifest. Self-revelation is related to the principle of functional reciprocity, which dictates that reciprocal functional interchange is fundamental for the persistence of a relationship. The lack of functional reciprocity mandates the presence of compensatory mechanisms. For instance, people get married for reasons other than love, such as social status. One person gets what they think is love, while the other gets status. The fact that people do not necessarily marry for love is an indication that the items of exchange in social relationships need not to always be alike, but the overall exchange should be perceived as fair by both parties for the relationship to be sustained. The nature of self-disclosure outcomes determines transition to the next stage of mutual dependency. Satisfactorily completing self-disclosure results in the desire to spend time together or avoid each other completely, depending on how it goes. Interdependence is characterized by the aspect of exclusivity in romantic relationships. Dependency and exclusivity results in the creation of a habit system that is founded on individual perceptions of love as well as one's culture. Martin and Luke observe that the habit system entails partners using each other as sources of rewards for activities and behaviors, including expressing feelings, sex, and companionship. The elimination or weakening of the habit system in a romantic relationship causes loneliness and frustration. Anderson observes that dependency is the driving force behind the support, sympathy, compassion, understanding, and intimacy in romantic relationship. The fulfillment of intimacy needs entails assessing the closeness or togetherness of partners in a relationship. The assessment determines whether individuals' needs of support, understanding, and love are met in their relationship. Anderson observes that meeting all these needs is subsequently followed by building a deep rapport, which restarts that whole process of falling in love and hence the whole idea of presenting love as a wheel. A deeper rapport allows for the revisiting of the other components of the wheel theory, that is, self-revelation and mutual dependency. All the components in the wheel reoccur throughout a long-term relationship, and the process is reversible in case a stage is skipped or the outcomes are not satisfactory. Borland argues that the wheel of love could instead be presented as a dynamic cock spring with the real self, or the most intimate aspect of a person, being at the center of the model. The real self revolves around how people perceive themselves as well as how they believe they are perceived by others. The self also includes regrets, ambitions, personal attributes, and individual thought processes. The cock spring presentation of the wheel theory of love accounts for the systematic depiction of falling in love and how the components contribute to more intimate personal relationships. Increased intimacy or togetherness allows individuals to open themselves up to each other, thereby making themselves vulnerable and sensitive, both being achieved through constant disclosure. The cock spring model represents the difficulty of unwinding a relationship, while the wheel fails to illustrate the depth of relationships through the focus on the turns and the related speeds. Different number of turns increase the various components, thereby raising the depth of love shared by individuals. The model also highlights the fact that relationships can be overwound to the extent to which the individual or the relationship can no longer grow. Borland associates the overwinding of relationships to the point of lacking growth with withdrawal arising from skipping the building a rapport phase into self-disclosure. Lack of a rapport raises the risk of trust and respect issues in a relationship no matter how long it has been in existence. Thus, Borland's cock spring model emphasizes the importance of going through all the stages of forming social and intimate relationships, especially for durability purposes. Relationships wind and unwind at different stages, thereby necessitating going back and forth in the wheel theory of love. Tighter bonds in committed relationships are inspired by shared milestones such as couples graduating school, having children, engagement, and getting married, or arguments that raise the need for communication, thereby increasing the closeness of partners and relationships. Martin and Luke assert that the wheel theory of love could be used to explain how people fall in love and out of love. For instance, arguments might increase or reduce the depth and strength of rapports in relationships. A reduction in rapport strength minimizes the chances of self-revelation and mutual dependency. Common interests are prioritized when people search for intimate partners to avoid constant confrontation that might arise from having to settle or sort out differences. Prioritizing interests is common with the first lover, but utilitarian aspects dominate subsequent relationship. Martin and Luke maintain that communication issues are central to dissolving relationships because they indicate weakening of the rapport created at the beginning of interaction. Destruction of the rapport is accompanied by minimal partner revelation, with partners mostly revealing negative aspects of themselves or their emotion. Having a history of heartbreaks minimizes the extent of self-revelation and mutual dependency in relationships because of the fear of vulnerability. Apart from communication problems, Martin and Luke observe that failure to meet a partner's personality or intimacy needs, which is the last stage of the wheel, also contributes to the dissolution of relationships. Personal histories, such as heartbreaks as mentioned before, could minimize the extent to which one partner confides in the other.